Hello, gamers of the Game Report. That is Lissandra, the Ice Witch. This is amazing. I actually came out with that it was the Ice Witch a few days ago, guys. This is exciting. So Lissandra, the Ice Witch revealed. We'll scroll down. It has her abilities, gameplay, and story. I will read this out to you. Lissandra is a flexible, mana-efficient mage with abilities that emphasize crowd control, kiting, and mobility over raw damage. I know how you guys don't like to read, so I'm reading it out to you. You can either follow along, you can read it yourself, or you can just listen. Here we go. Abilities. Iceborne is the passive. After a brief cooldown, Lissandra's next ability costs no mana. Hitting an enemy with movement impairing abilities reduces Iceborne's cooldown. Her other abilities have movement impairing abilities. So Ice Shard is her Q. Lissandra throws a sphere of ice that shatters on contact with the first enemy struck, dealing damage and slowing their movement speed for a short duration. Enemies behind the struck target also take damage. Ring of Frost is the W. Lissandra freezes the area around her, dealing damage to nearby enemies and rooting them for a short duration. Her E. Glacial Path. Lissandra casts a slow-moving, long-range ice claw in a line, dealing damage to all enemies in its path. Reactivating Glacial Path teleports Lissandra to the claw's current location. Frozen Tomb. Ultimate. On enemy casts, Lissandra freezes an enemy champion, damaging and stunning them briefly. Dark ice emanates from the target, dealing damage and slowing nearby enemies. On self-cast, Lissandra encases herself in ice. This is the most broken part I've seen about her. Rooting herself in place briefly and becoming untargetable and invulnerable. Dark ice emanates from Lissandra, dealing damage and slowing nearby enemies. This is like a crucial team fight damager. She won't be picking off the strong AD carry, but she'll be doing damage to the overall team fight and being unkillable. It's kind of like automatic Zonia's with Fiddle. Yeah, that's her ultimate. I think this is why her recommended items has Zonia's in it. It's going to be exciting. Now the gameplay. Mid lane. Lissandra's mobility and crowd control skills make her an ideal choice for aggressive roaming mid play. By shoving the lane with her AoE abilities, the Ice Witch can create the space she needs to make a move on top or bottom lane. The long-range blink from Glacial Path lets her get the drop on enemies from unexpected angles by jumping terrain or by circumventing typical ward locations. Once the ambush has been sprung, Lissandra's potent combination of slows, roots, and stuns allows her to stick to an opponent and close out the kill. Top lane. Lissandra's passive allows her to be much less dependent on blue buff compared to many of her AP counterparts, making her an excellent self-sufficient choice for top lane. Despite her low base durability, the long-range blink on Glacial Path helps Lissandra stay safe by pulling off daring escapes. If she's caught in a gank, Lissandra can freeze her would-be killers in place with Ring of Frost before disappearing over terrain with a well-placed Glacial Path. The area of effect damage on Ice Shard also allows Lissandra to guard turrets even when pressured or press the lane in an attempt to lure enemy junglers into a counter jungle. When an opponent takes the bait, Lissandra can cast Frozen Tomb on herself, ensuring her own survival as she uses her other abilities to set up kills. Team fights. Lissandra isn't the type of mage who immediately blows up high-value targets, but instead has the potential to lay down impressive amounts of damage and crowd control on grouped-up opponents. The AoE aspect to Ice Shard keeps enemies pinned down through repeated area damage and slow effects while she waits for the opportune moment to unleash her full combo. Once she sees an opening, Lissandra can use Glacial Path to close in and lock down a high-value target with Frozen Tomb. If the opposing team starts to focus her, Lissandra can instead use Frozen Tomb on herself, juking the initial burst before escaping with Ring of Frost. If you're looking for a mage who favors crowd control, mobility, and kiting over raw burst damage, Lissandra is sure to make a well addition to your lineup. Her story. Close your eyes and let the cold take you. Lissandra's magic twists the pure power of ice into something dark and terrible. With the force of her black ice, she does more than freeze. She impales and crushes those who oppose her. To the terrified denizens of the north, she is known only as the Ice Witch. The truth is much more sinister. Lissandra is a corrupter of nature who plots to unleash an ice age on the world. Centuries ago, Lissandra betrayed her tribe to evil creatures known as the Frozen Watchers in return for power. That was the last day that warm blood ran through her veins. With her corrupted tribesmen and the strength of the Watchers, she swept across the land like a terrible blizzard. As her empire spread through the world, grew colder, and ice choked the land. When the Watchers were defeated by ancient heroes, Lissandra did not lose faith and swore to prepare the world for their return. Lissandra worked to purge all knowledge of the Watchers from the world. Using magic to take human form, she massacred all as numerous seers and elders. Over the course of generations, she rewrote the stories of the Freljord, and so the history of its people changed. Today, the fragmented retellings of the Watchers are seen as children's tales, but this deception wasn't enough. Lissandra also needed an army. She set her sights on the noble Frostguard tribe. Lissandra knew corrupting the Frostguard would take centuries, and so she launched her greatest deception. She murdered and stole the identity of the Frostguard leader. Then she slowly began to warp the tribe's proud traditions. When her human form grew old, she faked her own death and then murdered her successor to steal her identity. With each generation, the Frostguard grew more insular, cruel, and twisted. Today, the world still sees them as a noble and peaceful tribe that guards against evil creatures like the Ice Witch. In truth, they now serve the witch, and long for the glorious return of the Watchers. Lissandra knows that on that day, nations will fall and the world will be reborn in ice. Close your eyes and let the cold take you. Quote by Lissandra. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a comment of what you think about her. If you think this ultimate will be overpowered. If you like the look of her in-game and her splash art. And leave a like if you guys thought this was informative and gave you everything you have been waiting for. Now you're just waiting for the champion, I know. So, subscribe so you're updated on new League of Legends videos. Clearly I handle the update and announcement videos for League of Legends very well. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll be reading the next one.